How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be my feedback and suggestions for the Awakened Drakania. Before we start, I'm sorry, I know the mic is shit. I know you're going to hear me breathing like you just did there. I'm going to try to put some music in the background to at least drown out some of that. It's the only mic I have at the minute. My main mic is broken, so apologies. But let's get into my feedback. So, in terms of Drakania Awakening PvE, history of the game, worst PvE class ever made. Absolute dog shit. I know they're aware of it, but just to give you some perspective, my Succession Ninja with Season Gear is a better grinder than Awakened Drakania with full gear. That statement is an absolute travesty. I know it's getting buffs. I don't think those buffs are going to be enough. I hope they don't stop prematurely and they buff it to the position where it needs to be in to at least be competitive with other classes. Because right now, it's god awful. But, okay, outside of that, how does it feel to actually play the class? Boy, oh boy, it feels good, baby. It feels really good. But it can use some help. It's not OP at anything. It doesn't need to be OP at anything. It's middle of the pack to above average in everything outside of PvE. But it needs a little bit of love. It needs a little bit of love here and there. I'm going to start with my low priority change would be this skill here. Doombringer. Remove the stam lock animation from Doombringer, or reduce the duration of the stam lock and like half the stam lock animation. So you're stam locked as you're going up, you're not stam locked as you're going down. Meet me halfway. That would help the flow a little bit. I don't think that's high priority, but it would be nice. What is the most highest priority for me is this skill. Remove the knockback and give it an SA. I do think the class needs one more protected movement. Currently, you can add an extra protected movement by putting Bond skill on your forward X. I don't actually like doing that, but it is an option for you to keep in mind. Yeah, so make this SA, remove the knockback. That'll go a long way with helping the class. Now, the class does feel a little bit clunky in Dragon Blood, so give us a self attack speed buff. Upon using a skill, give us X amount of attack speed for X amount of seconds. My suggestion is 5 to 10% attack speed, anywhere from 7 to 10 seconds. My favorite skill would be Tectonic Slam and or Doombringer. But any skill, doesn't have a protected skill, any skill upon activation, let's say, I'm going to go with the maximum. Let's say if you give the maximum 10% attack speed buff for 10 seconds after after the first hit of that skill. Boom. We're good to go. Preferably, I like to see it on one of the skills I mentioned at the beginning. But hey, any skill is fine. Now, I said the class feels a bit clunky. It feels clunky in blue stance, in Dragon Blood stance. So on top of giving us the attack speed buff, which I think it needs anyway, what you can do is swap the AP buff and the attack speed buff. So you get attack speed buff in Dragon Blood and AP buff in Hex Blood. That's another way to smoothen out the feel of the class a little bit as well. But that being said, if there needs to be a big give and take, if it's like, hey, you know, they don't want to swap the attack speed and the AP, but they think that if they were to give us an extra attack speed self buff, it'd be too strong to be stacked on top of the Hex Blood attack speed buff. Then what I would say is reduce the 10% to 5%. So that way we've got a big give and take. Now, let's talk about the stance switch. Increase the duration of the forward guard to right there, right before the wing goes down, and make it the same from blue to red or red to blue. So we can actually block some damage with it, because right now that is a pathetic forward guard animation time. Next thing, unify the stance switch button input. Currently, if you press A after a skill, hey, you can stance switch. That feels great. But if you do a movement skill, you press A, you do that. You do a little dash. Now we've got a problem. To do the same input, there's two different skills. That's clunky, in my opinion. So what I'd say is make everything, including these skills, if you press A, you do that stance switch, and then change your little dash to LTA. So if you want to do the fly thing, it's shift space instead of just space. And that would make the class feel a lot smoother on that end. Now, I also think the class is missing a couple of forward guard trading skills. It's only got 2. I think having 3 is a lot better. Argue for 4 if you want. I think 3 is the sweet spot. But I would say back right trigger is a good, remove the knockdown, give a forward guard, or this flow here. So Flow, Concealed Claw, or Storm Piercer. Give one of these or both of these forward guard, and if you do give Storm Piercer the forward guard, remove the KD. If you don't give Storm Piercer forward guard, at least make the KD on the first hit as well, the second hit at least. Third hit, pretty shit in my opinion. But hey, it is what it is. The other thing as well, I'd like to those forward guard skills to have a little bit of forward range. And why do I say that? Let's say you catch someone and you dash away. You're a bit too far away for these skills to hit until towards the end of the animation. So that was the wrong skill. This skill. So having a bit more forward range would allow us to get a CC, dash away, and actually do forward guard damage to the opponents on the ground. This is huge for 1vx. It's huge for XVX. Useful-ish for large scale. And it's nice for combo damage in 1v1, because a lot of times, let's say this catch specifically, you're cancelling afterwards. Now you can't hit your opponent because the range isn't too far. So that would go a long way. And I think we're ready to move on to the big one here, the grab. Look, this grab is good if you use the cancelled grab version. It's an average grab. It's not OP, it's not broken. It's just an average grab. It doesn't have crazy width or crazy range. It's got a little bit more range than like a ninja, but it's nothing like a hash or a Lan or anything like that, okay? But I'd say the problem is this grab, when you don't do a cancelled animation, is fucking dog shit. Slow to activate and really slow to cancel out of. So I'd like to see more skills cancel the grab animation. So back X, back RB, RT, LTLB, so the Doombringer, LTB. All of basically every single protected skill allow us to cancel with a grab. And please allow us more than one area of the skill to cancel. So to give you an example, right? Wrong stance. So first and second hit, either hit, let us cancel out of it. First, second, third hit, anywhere in that skill, after each one of those hits, allow us to cancel out of it. That'll go a really, really long way. And just sticking on this skill for a minute, Spiteful Soul, you're locked after your second hit to do the third hit animation. So you can only cancel after the first hit or the third hit. Just make that to be able to be cancelled after first, second, or third hit. That'd also be really cool. But yeah, so Doombringer. Oh, and I guess another one for grab cancel. Awaken stance switch. I don't know why it isn't a grab cancel. And stance switching from pre-awakening to awakening. So all the stance switches, all your protector skills, allow them to be cancelled with a grab animation. The only one that I might argue not against would be your forward RT. The reason I'd say that is because we can already have a protected grab on a Bond SA skill here. And if you're to make this an SA, then having a third one might be a bit too strong for a grab cancel. So maybe don't do that one, right? But do the other ones. And if you decide not to give the forward B an SA, then I would argue make this a grab cancel animation for the forward RT, the forward RMB, WRMB if you're PC. Alright, a couple of ones I forgot here. So let's continue with the forward RT. Now, currently this is a pretty long animation. It does have some cancels. Just allow every skill in Hexblood to cancel out of it as well. So that way, if we do get the catch, we can quickly, instead of doing the full animation, go into an FG skill. Outside of that, the rest of the cancels are absolutely fine. But I also want to go back to when I was talking about the class feels a bit clunky in Dragon Blood, especially when we get slowed. So the attack speed buff is one way to help mitigate it. Another way is to even the playing field, give Awaken Drakania a slow. So when we get slowed, we can also slow our opponents. So, you know, it's not crazy out of tune where they're pretty much going full speed and we're kind of cocked and having to play defensive / run away. So the slow doesn't have to be crazy. 10% attack speed and movement speed debuff. Doesn't have to be 15 or 20. I recommend putting it on Tectonic Slam, back X, Doombringer, LTLB. Those are my two favorites. But any of the protected skills is fine. Now, I know we have a Rebalm slow that is 20%. Problem is this Rebalm is garbage because it's on a 35-second cooldown. It's got no damage and it's super punishable because your opponents can kill you during the animation or grab you. So that, and it's not the Rebalm most people are going to pick, including myself. I'll be picking the other Rebalm if I'm not in a 1v1 because movement speed buff and crit rate buff for you and your allies is way better. So that being said, movement speed, again, that's, I said an attack speed buff. Attack speed and movement speed, like they could be on different skills. Attack speed is more important than the movement speed, but even having that little movement speed buff would help as well, go a long way as well. So let's say you could put, I don't know, attack speed on Tectonic Slam and movement speed on this skill here. That would be a choice. Another one as well is Awakening into Awakening stance switch. Right? If you're going from Hex Blood into Dragon Blood, allow that to cancel your back B. So you can go forward guard into forward guard. That would be nice. And if you're in pre-awakening and you stance switch in to Awakening and you're already in Dragon Blood, allow that to also be a cancel for your back B, your raw. But that is all my feedback and suggestions. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. I know I'm not really doing a lot of YouTube stuff. Kind of retired my YouTube at the minute. Maybe I'll get back into it in the future, but right now I've got more important things to be doing, and is what it is. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.